Welcome back. My husband, 40, and I, 35, have always dreamed of having a life outside of the bustling city life that we were accustomed to. We were both born and raised in the city and aspired to move to the quaint little countryside we had read about or had seen on TV. We would always look for farms that were for sale on property sites and set a budget goal around the prices of the farms that we liked. We even took to planting fruits and vegetables in our yard to practice being farmers. My husband worked hard at his corporate job so that he could afford to buy us a farm like we talked about. Eventually, he could. We bought a farm far away from the city on an isolated strip of land. The town was a long distance away and you couldn't see neighbors for miles. We loved the quiet ambiance, the privacy, and slow pace of things here. The neighbors and the townspeople from the nearest town were very warm and supportive. Upon hearing that we had bought the farm and we planned to make it a small family business, they would also help us with the hiring process for the farmhand positions and would teach us the ropes when it came to the actual farming. This was a big change from the everyone for themselves city mentality. This place was a real community that helped each other out. I loved the idea of it. I loved the experience. My husband was working in the fields, and I was often at home tending to the house or cooking. We were even trying for a baby again, as I was having issues conceiving. I think the change of pace and environment worked because things were looking up. It was bliss. But gradually, I started getting bored and lonely from the isolation. It's probably the city girl in me, probably because it's all I've ever known. But I started to miss the busy social life that I had in the city. I hadn't established any solid friendships here because the women were too gossipy. The only person I could talk to that could relate was one of our farmhands. Because he was initially from the city, and like me, he moved for a change of scenery. The more we talked, the closer we got. Until one day we took it a step too far and there was no turning back. We had numerous passionate trysts. I think what made it even more appealing was the sense of risk and danger. It was exciting trying not to get caught or trying not to arouse suspicion. And excitement was something this place lacked. Don't get me wrong, I love my husband and our sex life is great, but it lacks that risk factor. This affair's been going on for about a year and a half, and I decided to end things with a farmhand. I recently found out that I'm finally pregnant, which is a miracle considering my past complications. My husband is excited at the idea of being a father, and I'm also excited to finally be a mom. But I'm also nervous of who the father might be. When I ended the affair, he refused and showed me pictures and videos of me in a compromising condition that I didn't even know existed. He threatened to show my husband if I didn't give him money. For a while I did, and then I ran out. Even when I ran out, I lent from friends and family and gave it to him. Now I'm completely out. What do I do? My husband found out about the money lending and has asked me about it. He knows something's off. What do I do? I'm freaking out. Update 1. I took your advice and told my husband everything. He's so angry at me that he can't even look at me. Even when he does, it's a look of pure disgust. He moved to the cottage near the stables. He doesn't want to even be in the same house as me. I tried begging him on my knees, begging him to go back to the main house, but he won't listen. I had a ray of hope for our relationship when he fired the man that was blackmailing me and discreetly helped me press charges for blackmail against that man. But my hopes were dashed when he asked me if the baby was his. To be honest, I don't know either. How do I fix this? I love my husband and don't want to ruin everything we've built together just because of a fling. How can I make him see reason? Update 2. I decided on calling our friends from the city, people we knew and fully trusted, to come for an intervention. I was desperate and couldn't live like that anymore. I felt like people were looking at me, judging me. I felt so alone and reached out to our true friends that were with us from rock bottom. I invited them over to the farm and told them what happened. They were angry and told me that I was wrong, and that's the worst betrayal. But they supported me in trying to fix my marriage. That didn't do too well with my husband. This seemed to make him even angrier, and he demanded a divorce right on the spot, embarrassing me in front of our friends. I get that what I did was wrong, but now I'm trying to fix it. I just wish he'd be a bit more cooperative. Update 3. He doesn't want to listen to anyone and wants a divorce. He's been staying in the cottage and doesn't even look at me. The rest of the workers try to avoid me like a plague. Some of my friends don't want to talk to me. I'm now truly isolated and lonely. I'm growing tired of trying to fight for this relationship, and I'm thinking of moving back to the city. Update 4, possibly final. It's been almost 2 years since I updated, and a lot has happened. We're now divorced. It took a lot of begging and fighting to get where we are, but we are. I gave birth to a baby girl. Even before we could do a DNA test, her features gave it away that she wasn't his. But I still insisted on the test. I was delusional and hopeful that the results would say that she's my ex-husband's, so that she could be the glue that pulls us together again. After that, he was giving us issues. He refused to pay alimony and filed a petition against paying child support, which passed since he filed within the appropriate window to dispute paternity. It goes without saying he didn't even bother bonding with our child, but just wanted out as soon as he saw her. I was hoping bonding with our child would make him want to stay together, but no such luck. I later moved back to the city and got a 1-bedroom apartment for my daughter and I, with the alimony the court awarded me. But it's coming to an end in the upcoming months, and I don't know how I'm gonna make ends meet. After that, I won't lie, I still miss him and constantly this of what it would be like with me, him, and our daughter. Edit. Daughter's biological daughter isn't in the picture. I was and still am not interested in raising a child with a farmhand. That'd be a major blow to my daughter's self-esteem. Yeah, you suck. You don't want to raise a child with a farmhand because it'll damage your self-esteem? I guess it wasn't damaging that when he was doing you without protection. You deserve every bad thing coming your way. I'm glad your ex got out of paying child support to a child that isn't his. His lawyer is a hero. Sucks though that he was still ordered to pay alimony, but at least it's not for that long. You better start looking for a job if you don't want to end up on the streets. Story 2. So, I don't know what to do, and it's been eating me up. Long story short, my wife struck up a friendship with a coworker of hers that's supposedly only an online friendship. They rarely speak at work, and when they respectively get home, they almost immediately start gossiping with one another about their workplace and discussing their favorite music. At first, I didn't mind it because my wife doesn't really have many friends, but she started texting him almost non-stop, dropping off in the middle of our conversations at dinner, and even ignoring whatever conversations we were having via IM. Forgot to add that she works a 9-to-5 job, while I work an 8-to-8 job. I asked her to politely rejoin whatever conversations we were having to come spend time with the family on my days off or before I went to work. It really began to frustrate me, and I tried to explain that, but I was brushed off. Cue to about 3 months ago, and finally my suspicion overwhelmed me. I came home, logged into her IM account, and found that she had been trading sexually explicit messages with this guy while I was at work, and even when I was at home. In the messages, she described the guy as freaking fantastic to look at, and that she wants him. And it was, and this is a direct quote, a shame she wasn't single because she would tear him up. I was so devastated that I just sat there shaking. In part because we've been married 9 years but together for 14, and we always had a great relationship. I confronted her about it and she told me that she was just joking around, making this coworker feel good about himself. He had just gone through a bad breakup apparently and was hurting. I asked her if she was happy and she said yes, and that she wanted me and just me. We tried taking a short vacation to a local bed and breakfast and things seemed fine afterwards. I told her I didn't want her to continue her friendship with this man, and she agreed she would stop. Shortly thereafter, she started hiding her phone before I came home and changed all her passwords. She told me she was changing her IM password, and I don't blame her, but marriage isn't about secrets. Despite this, I assumed things were okay. We had talked it out, hashed out our differences, and we agreed to spend more time together. Cue to July 1st, the day before her birthday. I had bought her tickets to see one of her favorite bands play and was looking to hide the tickets so I could surprise her. Lo and behold, I found her phone hidden behind some clothes in the closet. At first, I attempted to restrain the urge to look on her phone, but I made the mistake of doing it anyway. She was texting the guy again, and while the messages weren't explicit, they both seemed to be longing for each other, and she made several references to being made to spend time with me and our children. I haven't approached her yet, and every day I'm not home, I'm worried that there are things happening despite her assurances nothing physical has occurred. I don't know what to do, and I'm devastated by her betrayal. Edit. I have to be honest here. After I came home from overseas, I was not in a great place, and she was always there for me. I was often drunk and miserable to be around, I know, and I kissed another woman. That's what that shit does to you though, and despite all that, never once in her time as a military wife do I believe she cheated on me. In a way, I sort of think she was bored, and as she described it, it was her chance to just feel good about herself. This guy though is a straight up Jody, and my feeling is that she thinks it was just a one-time thing. I'm going to confront her today. I've asked my father to come take the kids for ice cream, and I'm looking for a hotel. It's likely that she has lost interest in everything else, including her children, hobbies, and job. Such relationships tend to become all-encompassing, pushing aside everything else. Unfortunately, these situations often occur in less than fulfilling lives. There must have been something lacking that drove her to seek this level of intimacy with someone who's essentially a stranger and to keep it hidden from you. Addressing this issue will require assistance and a deep exploration of what's missing and how to remedy it. Marriage counseling is necessary for this process. Both of you must be willing to work on saving the marriage and take responsibility for delving into the root problems and finding solutions. Perhaps she needs more intimacy from you or more evenings out with her friends. Or maybe she needs to come to terms with the fact that adults with children often have less exciting lives. It won't be easy, as marriage, despite appearances, can be quite challenging to navigate.